One, two, three, four.
Welcome to the High Performance CEO Show, your exclusive insight into the strategies and success habits of the world's top CEOs. I'm your host, Sebastian Schieke, entrepreneur, mentor, and business angel. Prepare to grow your business, enhance your leadership skills, and thrive in today's world. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome to another episode of the High Performance CEO podcast. Today, I have a special guest, Dr. Mitch Holland. And Mitchell is the Managing Director and CEO of Integrity Capital Management and the Integrity Film Fund in Los Angeles. He's a very experienced financial expert, analyst with over 30 years of experience in the management, and he has a decade of experience in film and the entertainment industry. And we will talk a lot about today about the film industry. He worked as an executive producer and principal for Capitalist Pictures, Global Entertainment, and Sophie's World Production for over 20 years. Currently, he's working with Paramount Pictures, Lionsgate, Sony in American tightrope, and multiple different film projects. Mitchell, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sebastian. Really nice of you to invite me. I appreciate it very much. You asked me to tell a story, and I had something in my brain there for a second. I think when you were talking about the film industry, it kind of slipped out a little bit. But I do want to share something with you. Here's my story. Okay, so somebody wanted to ghostwrite a book about the film industry, and it was called From Wall Street to Hollywood.
Uh-huh.
And they used some of the current AI type technologies. I mean, between you and me, I'm really not that worried about AI taking over the world, because if you use speech to text, you put in, I'd like to meet you for a hamburger, and it says, I'd like to meet you over the border. Like, it's not, it can't even spell a sentence properly. I'm not terribly worried. But They tried to ghostwrite a book for me about executive production in film. And literally nothing in it was correct. It's like if you went to the library and you tried to learn a topic about anything, like how to build a home or remove a car engine, like until you get to it, you just don't really have any concept of how it really works. And the film industry is kind of particularly mysterious because you have a creative side and you have a business side. And if the creative side takes over, the budget is gone in a weekend. They'll have a big party, and so the business side, which is the side that I'm on as a former Wall Street guy, is designed to prevent, mismanagement of funds, and also to make sure that the assets of the film are in line with the sales of the film. It's common knowledge. So I just want to say, as a CEO of the company, I have to have some guidance steps. Like, how do I run my company? Like, what's the CEO's secret? I mean, other than working a lot. I mean, obviously It's surrounding yourself with the right people, but it really comes down to three things, which is a correct philosophy, or having a philosophy, having the correct or a good product, and then the execution. Those are the three things that we really need. We need a philosophy. Once we have our philosophy, we can apply that to our product, and then we can execute on our plan. So my philosophy, and the reason I'm in this position, is just because I'm nice to people. I went to a party at the Mayborn Hotel in Beverly Hills on Thursday. Lisa Vanderpump ran a charity event for dog rescue. And there were over 1,000 people there, and everybody was asking her questions, taking her picture, doing video. Everybody was trying to get something. And I took a look at her, and I asked her, and I said, Lisa, you look thirsty. Can I get you a bottle of water? And I didn't do it for any particular reason other than that she looked like, in other words, you have to pay attention to people other than yourself if you want to make those connections that lead to the type of arrangement that I have. I haven't really done anything special to deserve this partnership with Paramount. I have to tell you, I am an honorable person, and I do follow through and I do execute. But the main reason is because people understand my philosophy is to be collaborative and to pay attention to others and to build those bridges with people. This is the most important. You get nothing else out of this today. You're going to learn a little bit about the film industry. I'm going to tell you how it really works on the finance side, but just build those bridges and be kind to people. And that will serve you when the time is right. Somebody will include you in something that has a lot of merit. So that's how you get people to remember you and do business with you, is just by paying attention to them. So today we have a problem in today's society that we didn't have many years ago, and I like to call it noise pollution. So in terms of disseminating your message, and you know this because that's what you do, we're trying to find ways to eliminate noise pollution so our message can get out. Now, when I'm invited into a picture like, a big Paramount film, obviously that's not a big problem because they have hundreds of millions of dollars to spend, hopefully wisely. But one of the philosophies that we kind of use is, instead of trying to influence 1,000 people, we try to find somebody that likes us, that knows 1,000 people. This is called a brand ambassador, or we call them influencers, right? Not just people you pay, but people that really like you, that like your message. So that's everything about philosophy, that I just wanted to share some simple information about getting your message heard. Now, if we could switch gears, do you have a question, or should I continue?
I mean, I just want to say I love this because, for me, also networking is a very integral part of business. Yeah, I mean, I like meeting new people. I like having on a podcast. I'm running networking events where I get people together. And as you said, you will be remembered at some point. Yeah, it's not only, we're not after the quick dollar. Yeah, so it's building a network,
I'm kind of not after any dollar. If I'm being honest, we are trying to make money, but that's not our philosophy. And most of the partners that we do business with, a lot of times we don't even make a contract until we're ready to execute the end of the deal. And it's very confusing to people when they talk to my team, because I don't want to say we're casual. We're just nice to each other, and we keep our word with each other. And because we're nice to each other, things just happen. And so somebody who comes, let's say, from the financial industry, like maybe someplace like a financial center like New York, where people can, are trying to get their piece, they're very confused when they do business with us, because they can't understand how it works, that people can be nice to each other and make agreements, without trying to kill each other. So there's two philosophies in business, right? One is that the world is a pie, and if you don't get your piece, you go hungry. The other one is that a candle doesn't lose any light by lighting another candle, right? So we want to be candle, we don't want to be a piece of pie, So that's kind of our philosophy, is just to spread goodwill by doing things for other. And the mastermind concept, right? Synergy, is when people get together, they create things they would never create on their own, that are usually greater than the sum of its parts. So this is my philosophy, is anything I don't know how to do, I try to find somebody that can do it. You can't do everything, and you shouldn't try, but you have to go through the process. In your execution process, you have to go through and figure out what you think you're not that great at, and find people that believe in you and your mission. The money part of it will come, but people have to, it's almost like a spiritual elevated consciousness that you have to have in order for you to enjoy what you're doing and to get people to collaborate and collaborate in your mission.
I love this, Mitch. I really do, because it's my philosophy, providing value. And then, success will come, if you are there, if you show up, if you are nice to people, and if you're fair, because fairness is something we really miss in business nowadays. Yeah,
Sebastian, you invited me to do this podcast with you, and we're probably going to post it so everybody that I know now knows you, because you put this out to me. Now I'm going to put it back to you. This is the reciprocal process, and now this is how the mountain is built.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear about the film industry?
Yes, please. What do I think? These projects are very big, you mentioned production costs are rising, and you have to balance, between creativity and managing the commercial success of this endeavor. So
it's very simple. It's a very simple formula.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you what it is. And it's an investment management philosophy. I don't make a picture, but, typically, I'm sorry to say, I don't do it because the story is compelling. That's part of it, But approaching it as an investment manager, you have to look at what the assets of the film are. So if you think about film like real estate, like if you could sell a house for $200,000 for investment purposes, you're not going to buy it for $1 million. The same thing is true with the film industry. We have a sale value of the assets of the film. And the assets, the most important assets are the people that are attached to that film, typically name brand actors, directors, cinematographer, even a producer. Usually they bring people with them. And that's the highest value asset. And we know what their films are worth because we know what they've done recently. And we can see how they've done at the box office. We're doing Long Legs with Nicolas Cage. He just did the Pig movie, did very, very well. He approached us to do another small picture with him, low budget, that we think will do just as well. It just has a lot of value. So there's a number of assets that we look at in a picture. They are the talent, tax credits and rebates. So where we shoot, typically that place will give us some type of incentive to shoot a film there. We have things like product placement. We have other values such as there's back-end value. But, the real value of it is what can you sell it for? Like a piece of real estate, right? So we use distributions and sales agents. And distributions and sales agents, they're all over the world. And for many years, I made action pictures. And what we would do is we would sell them to foreign markets, primarily in Asia, because they love action films. And quite frankly, I would have a $5 million budget, and they would offer me $3 million. And guess what we would do? We would make the picture for $2.5 million. We would reverse engineer the budget to how much we could sell the film for. And we're still doing it today. And this is why I don't lose money making films, is because we reverse engineer the budget to what we can sell it for. And that doesn't mean it won't do more, but at least we know we've got the coverage. Typically, we're looking for about, 120% of total budget, like 20% premium. That's our target, so that we know that we're not going to get smashed. And there's no guarantee. I mean, I know some of the studios recently have spent a lot of money producing films and then canceled them before they released them and take a tax write-off. That's obviously something we don't ever want. But so there's not zero risk. So our fund is a pooled fund where we actually do financing on a number of projects. We don't do one film. We don't try to sell a single film. What we try to do is to collect pictures into the fund that have this profile, right? Diversification. Those are, your basic intrinsic value and diversification are the basic fundamentals of investing. Value and diversification. Why do you diversify? It's a money management strategy. So if something goes wrong, you don't have what they say, don't have all your eggs in one basket. I mean, you can diversify to a point where it's not helpful to you. But in this particular industry, which quite frankly is very, very good, a lot of the other asset markets right now are not good. There are only a few. Obviously, people that own commercial real estate and rentals are doing quite well. Although we know during COVID, a lot of them didn't have to, here in the United States, people didn't have to pay rent. They had a moratorium. So even rental real estate can go through those type of periods. But the entertainment industry has maintained a very high growth factor and is considered by most analysts to be the top alternative asset class in the world, entertainment. And somebody told me today, I talked to a luxury brand group, and he told me artwork is also doing very well. I guess people with lots of money don't know what to do with it. So, but people, even in bad times, people like to distract their minds from their problems. So they look to entertainment to do that. And then we know that, there's all these advances, things that I have one guy in my office. His name is Hugh Robinson. He ran Crescent Moon Productions, and his expertise is in the back end of the film. And what that means is when I'm all done making and selling a film, video on demand, pay-per-view, all over the world, foreign sales and distribution, domestic theatrical, all of this stuff, he goes, well, what else can we do with this picture? Can we do a partnership with Burger King for cups? And now, obviously they're getting into to NFTs. There might be some artificial intelligence things like, maybe they'll have a video thing where the actor, wishes you a happy birthday. millions of possibilities. I have one guy on my team. That's all he does. He tries to add value to the project, the value add guy. Call him the back end expert. Fantastic. So that's on top of everything else. So there's a lot of, and being that technology is improving, Web3, NFT, this kind of stuff, where they're actually going to be adding advertising and marketing medium right into the media. They're already doing some of that, but they'll be adding a lot of this. It used to be just product placement, like, Pepsi Cola, but you put a soda on the table and they pay you $500. There's actually companies where you can check off the kinds of products. And, the problem is if you make a movie about Mozart, you're going to have basically piano, a violin, maybe a wig. It kind of limits your, but if you're in sci-fi, you've got electronics out the wazoo, a headset, who knows what, Sony is everywhere. So this is how we approach this as a product class, as an investment class. The truth about film, it's not like you get an idea and then you develop it and then you go to a bank and you mortgage your house and you look for investors. You certainly could. And there is this thing in the film industry, there is something called the vanity sale, where somebody does a film just because they want to, or they have a family member that's an actor and they just, I'm telling you the real insights. No, everybody knows this, but so maybe somebody wants to invest a picture, they don't really care about the money. And a lot of people that are interested in the film industry, a lot of our investors don't need the money, but they do like the prestige. And because we're doing pictures with Paramount, we have prestige. We have, a product that very few people in the world have. So that's very helpful. If you have something that other people don't have, it's not as hard to try to sell against your competition. I would call it like the film companies we associate with are kind of like high luxury brand. So, in that sense, and how did I get it? Well, go back to number one. What's your philosophy? How do you treat people, right? That's how we got it. And then the execution relies on the other two. So the execution, now you have your product, you know what you're doing, and you have the studio said, okay, we want you to represent these films, please. So, we've got our philosophy and we've got our product, and now we just need to execute. And that's basically you build your team to the best of your ability. And that's a day by day thing. And then you just have to build everything around it and just make sure you have good creative people and keep them, keep your business and your creative team somewhat separate. Have the two teams, have the business team and the creative team, and let them do what they do best. Don't try to, cross-pollinate unless they're that type. There are some people who can.
And they should do it better than we, because we don't want to hire people who are worse than us. Yeah, we should hire people who can do the job better,
Right. So, just to encapsulate, so if I can sell a picture for 10 million, I make it for 8 million. If I can sell it for 6, I'm willing to pay, 4.5. That's the way it works. It has nothing to do with thinking about, the Top Gun did this, Joker, very successful, or horror movies do very, very well on low budgets. Blumhouse has done wonderfully well, makes terrific pictures. But he knows he's making a picture for $1.5 million. He's already got it sold for 5, 6, 7, 8 million. He knows he's good to go. And then if you want to work on the tidbits about your message or your story, and obviously, also as a filmmaker, the depth of the character is very, very important. I want to talk to you filmmakers out there. You need to understand why somebody does something, not just that they do it. You need to really think through it with your team. What is the why reason that somebody, why did Ed Snowden, go on his mission to release information, or why did somebody do something? And usually there's some type of a event in their life, something they were exposed to. They didn't get a bicycle on their 11th birthday. I can't tell you, right? But once you have the underlying philosophy, then the character develops depth. You have a feeling of why he did it. Then you can figure out, who's going to tell that story, from what perspective. Maybe it's his doctor, his lawyer, a reporter. That's when you see the person who's telling the story from their perspective. And that person's trying to not only figure out what's happening, but the reasoning behind it. And, even in an action film, okay, you killed my brother, I'm going to get you, sometimes the why is very simple, but, if you want to tell a story, it's got to be interesting. It needs to be, the way you connect with people is by understanding the motivation that people have for doing the things they do. And that's what tells the beautiful story and makes a beautiful picture.
There's been a lot of changes in the industry. I mean, you mentioned also NFT and also the distribution, yeah, especially now with COVID, it was a big change. Cinemas didn't operate anymore, so everything moved to digital. How did this affect the film industry, or where do you see the biggest change happening in your space right now?
There's a lot more streaming content and there's a lot more video on demand, but you have to, when you're thinking about the film industry, not necessarily like the TV series industry, you think more globally. You don't really and on a global basis, theatrical release, in theaters, pictures in theaters, particularly in very developed countries, still do very, very well and make a lot of money. And I won't mention, I work with big studios and they test films with audiences. And if they really, really like it, they consider doing a theatrical release. And if they don't like it as much, sometimes they send it to their streaming platform. From our point of view, it's the same. It's just a question of, what our sales are going to be. And the paid video on demand on an international basis, a lot of times will equal what a theatrical release would equal too. People don't know this, but so if you have the secret is to have the right distribution and sales agents. You need very, very good distribution companies that pay, and companies that can get you what you need, and sales agents as well. And it's a very big part of the industry, the distribution and sales. And the very good companies, they're well known in the industries, and we like doing business with the best people we can. But we haven't, as far as the future, to get back to your question, there's going to be more digital and electronic, interactive, augmented virtual reality, interactive, artificial. There's a lot of that stuff. And then, there's also the crossover from games. This gamification is another back end area where somebody takes your picture and they make it into a video game. And, there's all of these different avenues, and they all have a nexus, which is basically to provide some type of entertainment, experience to the user. And they go both directions. Sometimes, a novel is somebody writes a book and they turn it into a film. Somebody turns a film into a book. Somebody turns a game into a movie. Somebody turns a movie into a game. There's all this crossover. And if you're a wide enough thinker, you can actually, have people positioned in your company in these different areas to try to explore which ones of them are going to be of benefit. I guess the future is more of a personal experience, something along the lines of interaction where, instead of just watching, you can actually
be part of the movie, yeah? Kind of an
or like, you remember they used to have the game where you could choose a different ending kind of thing, like you push a button and say, I want ending A, B, or C, I guess we could do that. I think more in terms of like you look around my office and you go, I want to buy that lamp, and you point your mouse at it, and then it goes, yeah, you can order one of these, today, we're having a special. It sounds kind of crazy, but, when people see things, I think instead of the advertisements are kind of dulling to the senses. I think if you could build advertising into the platform of entertainment itself, not even advertising, even just suggest to people if they like something, maybe they can just let you know, or they could say, I want information on that. And you could have an interactive experience. I think that's the next logical step in the evolution of entertainment, is to be entertained and also to provide you with things that you might like to, improve your life at the same time.
Yeah. I'm watching Ted Lasso with my son, yeah, and he's 14. And they plays, of course, all the Apple products, yeah, and what he figured out, and I don't know if this is the case, but depending on what state you are in the movie, yeah, so you have the manager of the team, you have a sub audience, they have different Apple products, yeah, so the manager always have the Apple Book Pro and the biggest iPhone, and all the other people, they have smaller devices. So I guess there's also some kind of hierarchy in how they put
Michael Moore. I think Michael Moore did a picture like that, or somebody who was mocking him did a film where the whole entire movie was product placement. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like just to make a point, like, again, the balance between the creative side and the business side, right? There's this thing called production value, and production value is like, what is the value of the film? Like, is it going to appeal to children or moms or families or business? Like, what is the production value? And then the creative could go completely opposite. Like something so creative, it doesn't even, a movie without an ending, or just something very visual and artistic that people won't buy. And so these two forces have to meet somewhere in the middle. And you've watched movies where the producers have kind of taken over, and you're watching and you're going, gosh, they're trying to please everybody. One minute they're doing, then they have some kids come into the thing to do something for them, and they're trying to please everyone. It's really not the way to go. There needs to be a really well-balanced measure between the business part and the creative, so that the creative is preserved. So I think we need to be careful not to try to oversell inside the entertainment medium. We could do it, it can be more interactive so people can decide.
I agree. Can you share a challenge you had in your past? Something which you think, hey, this really went south and did to...
Well, I can tell you the most obvious one, which is that whenever you become successful, instead of people calling, like, you could tell them, Sebastian, if you called me and said, hey, Mitch, I only do two things in this company. Our company does two things. We look for valuable projects and we look for partners to participate with us financially. Only two things. And people come to me and they say, you know what? You're doing something very interesting. I'd love to participate with you. What do you think my answer would be? Sure. Yeah, please. What do you have? Let's come meet my team. And if it works, great. But a lot of people don't operate like that. They take a different approach for some reason. And so when you become successful, you have to expect a little bit of pushback from either business people or people you've done business with in some form or fashion. They can be envy, jealousy. I don't really understand, because we're very, very open-minded. But, the challenge is, as we become more successful, is they're not even competitors, but just people who, instead of collaborating, they look to attack what you're doing. To bring you down instead of coming with you to build you up. And so I've had some of these challenges in the past where I've had people, I'm having it now. I have some people coming out of the woodwork saying that some work was theirs or some of the concepts were theirs. People I've never met that I never took anything from. We create everything from scratch. So it's not even an issue, but
they're trying.
So this is the thing. You just have to be prepared for it. You have to be prepared to answer those kinds of questions when people want to, for lack of a better word, attack you because you're becoming successful.
Well, something we all have to live with. Yeah. People being envy is something which is, when I compare the States with Europe, in Europe, people are often very envy with people who are successful. Yeah, so if you run a business, if you're successful in a business, then you must do something wrong, this is not right that you are successful. Yeah? And then this is really turned into an issue in the country where I live. I love, for example, in the US, that you can share your success and you can basically present what you have without being seen in the wrong light. At least this was my
that's not entirely true. Yeah. It might seem like that, but I'm telling you that people might smile a little more when they do it, but there are, there's, I don't know. I don't want to say it's easier to attack than it is to build, but building takes a lot of time, attention to detail, a lot of, it just takes a lot. It requires a lot of work and focus and team building skills that you just have to develop. And you're right. Here, anybody could really do that. Anybody can start a company here and meet people, put a team together and create something without at least initially, without too much pushback.
Yeah. Hey, Mitch, thank you so much. You shared so many clues from the industry. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the audience?
Yes. Follow your dreams. Okay. And, if you have a story, get a notebook.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily type it, write things down, try to keep track of stuff. good or bad, so that you can refer to it. It activates a different part of the brain. And if you can't do something, but, everybody's good at something, don't look at somebody who is a brain surgeon. If you're a good guitar player, you can. My daughter was kind of a math genius, and she decided to become a graphic designer because she thought it was too easy for her, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But you can, if you can't, you can create. The creative process and serving others is what will give you fulfillment in life, not to serve yourself all the time. You have to turn it around. If you serve others, you're going to have a real sense of fulfillment in your life. People will want to work with you and build with you, and you'll feel really, really good about yourself. So that's it. I send you love. Thank you for listening. Sebastian, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here, Mitch. It was a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you for tuning into the High Performance CEO Show. I'm your host, Sebastian Schieke, and it's been a pleasure serving you. Please subscribe to our show on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Your support helps us reach more listeners and create a bigger impact. Check out our website, sebastianschieke.com, for additional resources. Until next time, be bold, be exceptional, be outstanding, be a leader.